Alrighty, roll along here as we get our pregame festivities started. Brian Higgins with you here on this Tuesday evening, getting you ready for Cuse and Colgate, which for decades upon decades upon decades wouldn't have elicited much excitement or interest whatsoever, as they went nearly 60 consecutive years without Syracuse losing a game in this series. And then, the last 3 years happened. And boy, howdy, did they happen, because Syracuse won last year, digging out of a 24-point hole, one of the largest comebacks in program history. And then the 2 years prior to that actually lost to Colgate, not once but twice in back-to-back years, in games in which Colgate hit a combined 37 threes. So it sets the stage for an interesting, or hopefully not interesting, depending on how it all goes together night to night for the Orange here. So we're going to get you ready for that. We'll hear from Matt Langle, Colgate's head coach, coming up in 10-15 minutes or so. Phone lines open if you'd like to chime in throughout the hour. What are you looking forward to seeing tonight in this game? What has you worried? What has you intrigued? 315-437-7644. Give a ring, and we'll get you on throughout our hour together here in preparation for the Orange and the Raiders on the hardwood tonight. Tip time is an hour off. Listen, of course, over on TK99 and our AM dial, ESPN 1200. Watch the game tonight. It's ACC Network Extra and ESPN Plus availability for the ball game tonight. So we're about an hour out here from the opening tip time here tonight. Looking forward to this game, Cuse and Colgate. But before we do that, let's first look back. It was a week ago last night. 8 days ago, that Syracuse opened the season against Lemoyne. First meeting between the Orange and Lemoyne, with Lemoyne in D1. Game one, Red Autry year two, and then all of a sudden, the game started and Lemoyne took the lead. And Lemoyne held the lead for essentially all of the first half and a decent chunk of the second half. The Orange eventually did rally, made plays late, and beat Lemoyne in the opener 86-82. But it led to not exactly leaving last Monday with a whole ton of confidence in the early stages of the Syracuse basketball season. What's it all mean here? We don't know. I think that's why we're looking forward to tonight, to see, all right, how much of what we saw last game is, okay, here's game one. Okay, these are legit problems. Okay, this is going to get sorted out in the wash. Let's go back here to game one, though, and let's hear a little bit from Orange head coach in Red Autry and how he evaluated things after the game. He saw, it was not an easy win. It wasn't anything, but he saw his team at least dig it out down the stretch.
We showed some heart. We showed some toughness. We didn't shoot the ball well. 4 for 22 from three. We missed 11 free throws. We missed shots that we normally make, around the basket. So, we didn't play our best game. And I just thought our guys showed a lot of heart. I thought Jair, he came in and stepped up big for us. I thought JJ made some big plays down the stretch. Eddie, came in and gave us a little lift. And those are hard games for those type of guys when you play against smaller teams and they're big, so mobile, and they can shoot threes. So, that was a challenge. We knew that was going to be a challenge.
A little bit of red from after last game, and we'll get a little bit more from you as we go along here. And, they scored 86 points, but still a lot that Red was not pleased with.
We got a lot of work to do. That's no secret. I've been saying that for a while. And again, it's not an excuse, but we just got work to do. We got to get better defensively. We actually rebounded the ball pretty well. We had 20 offensive rebounds. So, we rebounded the ball well. But, overall, our offense wasn't good enough. It wasn't efficient. Very few people in the plus column this game.
Yeah, they had 20 offensive rebounds last game against an undersized Lemoyne team, which is good. But 20 offensive rebounds, which turned only into 12 second-chance points. So, you got the ball back, but then what did you do with it at that point, which didn't always lead to a lot of things that you were feeling great about. But what you did feel good about coming out of game one is Delaware transfer Jair Davis. Jair was great, especially after halftime. We talk about a game in which Syracuse was incredibly inefficient as a whole. Davis scored 22 points on just 9 shots, and we'll let Red tell it.
I thought he was huge. He made tough baskets. He scored, he rebounded. He was big for us. Without Jair Davis, we don't win this game. It's simple. And again, we got work to do, but I'll always take a win and get better than a loss and feel terrible.
Losing that game, oh my goodness. We still didn't feel great about it over the course of the last week. It's certainly not the best Syracuse has played, but at least it was a W in Game 1 of Red Autry Year 2. And another guy that contributed in a significant way to the win was one Chris Bell, who potentially here in Year 3 in the Orange is seeing himself step into a larger role.
Just started playing. I thought he got lost in the game. That was a big defensive play that he made at the end of the game. When they went to zone, we found him. He got some easier shots, and I thought he got himself going. But I thought defensively he was really good today. He made a big, play at the end, and I just think he just kind of stopped trying to, think about the game and just play the game.
I think Bell's game from the opener was very interesting. And yes, just Lemoyne, yes, just the opener. But what have we known Chris Bell for the last 2 years? 3-point shooting. What else have we known Chris Bell for the last few years? Exactly. The answer is 3-point shooting and only 3-point shooting. He made a couple threes last game, but he scored 20 points and only made 2 threes. Normally for Chris Bell to score 20 points in years past, that's a 6 3-pointer game, not a 2 3-pointer game. We saw other facets of his offense. How is this going to continue to present and to continue to develop itself as the season goes along? I think that is potentially interesting because you look at a guy with that shot, as good as his shot is, if he can do anything else offensively, that is very intriguing. And then defensively, Chris Bell has not exactly been known as a stopper over the years. No, nor a rebounder. But on that last possession for Lemoyne last Monday, he cut inside the screen, stole the ball, and essentially ended the game. I get it's Lemoyne, but it was an excellent defensive read and defensive play for Bell. Progression, good sign going forward. Who else do we need to talk about? How about star incoming freshman one, Donnie Freeman? Inefficient offensively, looked a little nervy at points, 3 of 12 from the field, but did end up with a double-double, 10 points and 11 rebounds in his first official collegiate basketball game.
I thought he played well. He's a freshman. I thought he played well. Again, he gave us a burst of energy. He made some shots. He couldn't finish around the rim as like we needed him to do. But again, I thought Donnie played well. He had 11 rebounds. He got to the glass. Again, he's a freshman, man. He's going to keep getting better. And playing against this team, this was a good team. This is a good first game for him. I'm excited where he's going. He's just got to keep playing and keep getting better.
So a little bit on Donnie Freeman there. How about the start of the game? The Orange came out incredibly sluggish in the opener, which hopefully will not be repeated tonight.
I thought we were a little tight. I thought, a lot of our guys, just their first time playing here, our transfer, Eddie, Jaquan, they made the game a little bit bigger than what it needed to be, instead of just playing. So I was just really trying to tell those guys to relax, calm down. Let's just keep trying to defend, get some rebounds, and, finish the plays and get up the court and take our shots. Really just trying to, keep giving them some confidence. Again, you could tell they were pressing. Again, we missed so many easy shots around the basket. So, again, me just trying to keep their heads up and their confidence up and, trying to, get them to defend.
All right, so I think that'll be intriguing tonight. All right, game 2, you settled in a little bit. Transfer portal, freshman, it's a very new. How are you going to come out? You're going to be ready to go. And another question tonight. Okay. Threes? Question mark. The Orange were just 4 of 22 from 3 the last time out.
Yeah, when you're not making them, again, we shot 32 the last game. Today we shot 22. I thought they were all, pretty good shots. I think they were all good shots. We just didn't make them, but we knew we had a size advantage. We knew that they were going to give us some looks for certain players, so we made a conscious effort. And I thought when they went zone, that really helped us out too, being able to get the ball inside and then getting some clean looks. I think Chris only hit 2, but I think 2 big ones.
I think we don't know right now, at least I don't know, what caliber a shooting team the Syracuse basketball team is. I know Chris Bell is a great shooter. I know other people are capable shooters. J.J. Starling. We're told Donnie Freeman is. We're told Lucas Taylor is. We're told Chapamore is, the freshman. But we gotta see it And 4-22 obviously ain't going to cut it here. This is 2024 college basketball. You don't got to be the best shooting team in the country, but you have to be capable from the outside. Like, one of my main takeaways from the opener is that between the transfer in from Georgia State in Lucas Taylor and the freshman in Elijah Moore, Chapel Moore, that realistically how the rotation is probably going to shake itself out. If you're going to be a good team, you need one of those guys to be able to come in reliably game in, game out, and be able to hit the three, stretch the floor, make defenses worry about it. You need JJ to hit it at a reasonable rate, but I think attacking is what you really need him for this year. He's got to shoot it, but we'll see. If one of those bench guards can come in and hit threes, that feels vitally important. But the main takeaway from the opener, from Syracuse's 86-82 win over Lemoyne, is that the defense has to be a lot better.
I'm not sure if it's the inability to guard as far as sometimes the concentration, keeping people in front. And I think, to be honest with you, I think it's really more about, people think it's just one guy. It's a team thing. And our gaps are not good right now. That's the reality. Our gaps are not good. I mean, again, we knew they wanted to shoot threes. Again, it was kind of like when we played Virginia Tech last year, right? Like, you play certain teams, you know they want to shoot threes, so you want to make it a two-point game. Now, imagine if you got more threes off. We don't win the game. Again, we still made it a two-point game, and it allowed us to get back into the game. But our gaps have to be a little bit better. But, again, certain games, certain strategies are different.
All right, game 2 coming up. Strategies, we'll see where they evolve against Colgate here tonight, a game that has been a massive struggle now 3 years on the trot. 2 losses, and then last year, down 24. Realistically, like as bad as those 2 losses to Colgate were, Syracuse, early second half last year, was in worse shape in the game than they were in either of the 2 losses, and yet rallied and won the game. Chris Ballard, a monster second half in the game last year, scoring 15 of his 25, then career high after halftime to help shoot Syracuse back in it. Hopefully, for the Orange sake, none of those heroics will be necessary here today. All right, let's hit a break. Phone lines open if you'd like at 315-437-7644. Thoughts, questions, concerns heading into Syracuse and Colgate. And when we come back, we'll hear from Colgate head coach Matt Langle, who visited with Steve and Paulie on Orange Nation earlier today. All that as we roll along here on our pregame coverage here on this Tuesday on Cuse Sports Talk and ESPN Radio. Hey, chat. Back to the Godfather. What's up, KPP Stash? Oh, the defense was not good last game. I'm glad you're hearing me. The rest of you were just here, but we're glad to have everybody with us. What did you send? All right, let's. If somebody's sending a Godfather link, I'll. And this is the day of my daughter's wedding. That wasn't a very good Corleone. You ask me this favor. That is a fact, Zach. Yeah, I found. Look, it's Mike. Watching some Godfather, Mike? No? Oh. Here, watch some Godfather with me. We're watching some Godfather together.
Come to me on the day your daughter's wedding. You ever watch Neighbors with Zac Efron and Seth Rogen?
I'm aware of it. I've never seen it.
So, like, the concept is they live in a house or they move into a house, and either the frat is already there before or moves in right after them. I don't remember, but the frat has like a Robert De Niro day, so they're all dressed up as different variations of Robert De Niro. De Niro, and one of them is dressed up like the Godfather. He's like, just the whole time he's in the background.
De Niro not in this movie though.
No, what ones was he in though?
2. He plays younger Vito Corleone in 2.
Oh, okay. I've really been interested in watching The Sopranos lately, though, because I keep seeing clips of it all over my social media.
Sopranos is great also.
Like the one
you can watch The Godfather faster, though, because The Sopranos has many seasons.
Yeah. Well, they're probably both on, like, HBO Max or something like that.
Got to be. Well, Sopranos clearly would be. Godfather's got to be somewhere streaming. Here's your homework assignment, Mike. You watch The Godfather 1 and 2, and then you can move on to The Sopranos.
I will.
The Godfathers won't take you as long.
Did you already say what it was streaming on, or do I got to find it? I can find it.
I failed midway through looking it up.
All right, bye.
All right. We're going to play the interview.
This is the Burdick Ford and Burdick Toyota pregame show, presented by Amtrak.
That it is. Rolling along here on this Tuesday. It's a game day. That's why we're doing a pregame show. That's how all this works. All right. Would love to hear from you if you'd like to chime in throughout the course of the next 45 or so. 315-437-7644. What we're going to do right now is he's been so gracious with his time on game days here the last few years. Matt Langle, it's become a thing. He visits with Orange Nation on the day of the game. The problem is what's happened after is that then he won twice and shoulda, coulda won last year. So that's a little disconcerting. Regardless, here we are. Matt Langle in his 14th year, head coach of the Colgate Raiders, 5 times in the NCAA tournament. Here's his chat earlier with Steve.
2 games in, you beat SUNY Canton, you beat them up pretty good, and then you fall on the road to Drexel. What have you learned about your team to this point through 2 games?
That I got a lot more to learn about my team, probably. I think we're certainly like most teams at this time of the year who are have different rosters and new faces. You're still searching for an identity. It's a new process for us. We've had such a consistent group for the last number of years, and while we have some familiar faces, I'm asking them to play different roles than they've played in the last couple of years. And so I think what I've learned is that we can be a tale of 2 teams, and just need to keep working at it every single day and try and put our best foot forward.
You brought up the consistency, and I wanted to ask you about that. I mean, how have you been able to maintain this level of consistency, even in these changing times, right, with the portal and NIL and, a lot of guys leaving and trying to go to bigger programs and so on and so forth? How have you been able to maintain that level of winning that you've been, able to do year in and year out?
I think if I had an exact recipe or formula, I could bottle it up and sell it and retire. So I don't think there's a firm answer. I think we've had a great group of guys who come from extraordinary families who chose to come here to Colgate to play for this program for a lot of different reasons. And so, when other options came available, or really the 5th-year guys coming back to do their COVID year, continue their education, to continue to be a part of this program has been a big jolt. And so, their choices to do that instead of go pursue other opportunities for other reasons was critical. The guys have just really valued the experience and their teammates and playing the brand of basketball that we do, that it's, not about one individual, that it's really a team brand. And so, I feel fortunate to be the coach of a group of guys who's been able to do that over the last handful of years. In
terms of the personnel, you said a few familiar faces back, and one of those familiar faces is Jeff Woodward, who's a senior now, and you've seen him kind of grow up and develop throughout the last several years within the program. What can you tell us about his game, how it's grown, how it's evolved, and how important he is to this year's team, not just with his skill set, but also with his leadership this year?
In a lot of ways, because of his position, big guys, especially at our level, they often take time to develop and grow. He's probably our biggest recruit last season. His fourth year, he wants to be a clinical psychologist. It's, his basketball days are numbered, and he's okay with that. He's not going to pursue professional opportunities. So, have him back in his experience. He's only won championships in his 4 years at Colgate, and so to be the anchor of our defense and the focal point of our offense is really important. But even him plays a different role this season because his whole career he's been alongside other guys, and Keegan Records was there for all four of these now, and now he's the only really experienced big guy, Jeff, and he's always had some experienced guards to play with, and now he doesn't. And so, his leadership on the court, off the court, in terms of tactics of what we're doing, but also in terms of that culture buzzword that everybody talks about. He's really working hard at the leadership aspect of continuing to pass on what's been so important to us.
All right, you mentioned some of the newcomers as well. Can you give SU fans an idea who are going to see this team in the Dome maybe tonight for the first time this season? Who are some of the newcomers they should be looking out for?
Well, I think it's less about newcomers and more about new roles, right? So, Nick Louis-Jacques started for us until he got injured last season. He's in his fourth season, but now he's being asked to play a prominent role. Same for Brady Cummins, who's in his third season. He started when Nick went down, and they were both huge parts of our championship season, but now they're being relied on to be main guys, to be, consistent scorers and playmakers and, defensive, presence. Even though they're upperclassmen, it's a new role for them. And then two sophomores. Jalen Cox started for us in the back end of the season, was critical in our championship run in the Patriot League. Played a few minutes in the Cuse game last year. I'm sure learned some valuable lessons in that game, but he's really, with Braden Smith leaving us for Gonzaga, Jalen's the only true, playmaking guard that has any experience in a Colgate uniform. And then, interestingly enough, his high school teammate who went to a different year of prep school in New England, but his high school teammate Parker Jones, a really good player, but in his first year, starting and having big responsibilities for our team. So, I think those four guys. We also returned Chandler Baker, who's come off the bench for us and is a dangerous weapon for us in experience. That those guys are going to be, asked to do a lot. Yes, we have Blake Forrest, a small point guard from the state of Washington, who will come off the bench, and Sam Wright, who's in his second year, who didn't play very much last year with our veteran front court, who will come off the bench and get some minutes. But it's really those guys who have played a little bit who are being asked to kind of step into bigger roles that if our team's going to continue to have the successes that we have in the past, we're going to need those guys.
And you've certainly had success against this particular opponent the last 3 years, winning 2 of them and very nearly beating them for a third time in a row last year. What has allowed you to have success against Syracuse the last 3 years?
Again, I know exactly what it was. We'd throw that same game plan out there. I think, this would be my, 12th or 13th time coaching against the Orange in the Dome, and it's always a really challenging game, their size, length, athletic ability. You've got to take care of the basketball. You can't turn it over like we did last year once we got up 24 points in the second half. You've got to really battle on the glass because they're bigger, longer, more athletic, especially than our team this year. So you've got to scrap and fight tooth and nail to not let them get easy points. And then again, there's no secret. You got to make shots. Again, I think we can run good offense. For a long time it was against the zone, but more recently against Coach Autry's man-to-man defense. You got to work hard to get shots, but then you got to make them. We weren't able to do that on the road against Drexel, and on the road against anybody. If you can't make some shots to keep yourself in the game, especially against a team as dynamic as Syracuse, then it could be a long evening.
What stands out to you from a personnel standpoint about this particular Syracuse squad this year?
I think their talent, their overall talent, stands out. They've got some guys, be it Carlos from, the CAA conference is really good, and he played for, a guy, Speedy Claxton, who I grew up playing against a little bit and has had a lot of really good players. So, he has that acumen. He's been coached for a number of years. And then, the other end of the spectrum is a guy like Lampkin, who's played at a really high level for a few different schools, who's in and is a talent. Jared Davis, we played against him a couple of years ago. He had a huge game against us when he was at Delaware. And then, the Syracuse guys, JJ is really talented, and Chris Bell can go off. And then you add in some of their younger players who are really highly touted. I think they've got a lot of weapons as they start to figure out who they're going to be over the course of what's a long college basketball season.
And then, lastly, and I know you touched on it here a little bit, but what does this game come down to tonight? You've talked about what you guys have done well in the past. How do you see this thing playing itself out tonight at 7 o'clock?
Yeah, I mean, again, you don't know. Every game has its own identity, and they can go a variety of different ways. I think for us, our focus is just divide the game up, as simple as it sounds, into a 4-minute round. For every 4 minutes, there's a media timeout, and you've got to avoid being knocked out in those 4-minute rounds. So you've got to do everything you can on both ends of the floor to not beat yourselves and to kind of stay in the fight. And the further you can get, again, Lemoyne, I thought, did a great job in that game. Some things had to break their way and break against, Syracuse in terms of shot making and what have you. But I think what you hope for as the coach is that you can survive a number of those rounds, and as the game winds down, you can kind of be in position to steal one in the dome, which is really hard to do.
Oh, hard to do, but done by that guy twice in the last 3 years. And I'd argue the ones he won were not, stolen, really at all, were they? Look back, 2021. They were down. What was Syracuse up 15? Syracuse was up big early in that game, 10-15. I think they were up 15. There was a 30-point swing in that game. Colgate dropped 100. You ain't stealing anything if you drop 100. 185. They had 18 of 43 threes, just shredded the zone in that one. And then the next year only made it to 80, but they hit 19 threes. 57 of their 80 points came behind the arc. It was a wild shooting performance both those years in the Dome. So they won 100-85, then 80-68. Those were not stolen games. Those were pretty solid dominations at various points in those games. Then last year was just a shocking game. Syracuse was down 24 early in the second half. We were so far beyond here we go again. It wasn't here we go again. It has happened again. And then Chris Bell got it going from the outside. Orange started playing, cranked up the defense, closed, and were able to take the lead late. So and win. So it was a crazy comeback last year. But this has not been a by hook or by crook hang around stuff for Colgate the last 3 years of this series. I will be very interested though this year because it's not quite, at least now, week 1, week 2 of the season, the same Colgate team. A lot of new names, a lot of names that were deep on the bench last year, ascending into starting roles this season. I don't know. We'll have to see what it is from the game, but need to see Syracuse play better against this Colgate team this year, certainly than we've seen the last few years, for sure. With that, we'll take a break. If you'd like to chime in on our pregame coverage, you can after this at 315-437-7644 for ESPN 44. Much more to talk about, including the debut of Chance Westry? Question mark? Get more to that after this here at Cuse Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.
This is
That is progress, San Diego Cuse. A strong start would be nice. Yeah, what are people doing at the Dome? What's being tweeted? Donna has video that Chance Westry exists. Mike Waters has different video that Chance Westry exists. His video, Chance makes a layup. Yeah, Westry dropping 20. Oh, let's see. Yeah, Chance Westry just goes out, drops like a 20, 10, and 6. Just yab it on people's heads. Ooh, here's the Aronde Gadsden catch again. It just popped up in front of me. I'll watch that a few times. What a ridiculous touchdown catch. How the hell did he do that? No, like, is that like insane wrist flexibility? Like, how did he do that? Like, does he got a bendy wrist? And he just did it like so casually, just like yoink. I like your tactic, Tronic. I've heard everything they've said about Chance Westry. I believe it, and I think they were understating it.
Is ESPN Radio
97.7 FM Syracuse
and 100.1 FM Oswego. This is the Burdick Ford and Burdick Toyota pregame show, presented by Amtrak.
Yes, sir. Roll along pregame show. If you'd like to partake, 315-437-7644. 7 o'clock tip time in the Dome tonight. Listen on TK and ESPN 1200. Watch on the ESPN app, be it ACC Network Extra or ESPN Plus. Is that a sign that I have too many things that always ask me, which one do you want to watch it on? Wait a minute, just put the game on. I'm subscribed. Stop forgetting I'm subscribed. ESPN app and let me watch the thing. Oh, we're all set up. We're ready to watch. We got things plugged into things and TVs. We're ready to go. We're ready to go. All so we can come back here after the game, 9-ish. If it takes as long as the first game, 9:15-ish. It was a long opener against Lemoyne. 9-ish. And we'll break it down after for you. We'll have Red's post-game press conference, your calls, all the good stuff that we have on post-game shows. We will have it, and we will all get to partake in that together after the game. So one of the biggest questions of the day, the week, the year, or the Rembrandts, that what is Chance Westry? Will we start to maybe see Chance Westry tonight? I have seen videos from various sources at the Dome right now. Chance Westry is warming up. Chance Westry is, in fact, warming up for the game. He's like Bigfoot. He's the Sasquatch. He's the abominable snowman. He's the Loch Ness monster of Syracuse basketball here for the last year and a half. I feel somewhat bad saying it's funny. It's not funny. He's been hurt. He's been sick. It's not like he's just like, nah, I don't wanna. But you hear all these good things. Chance Westry dominating practice. Last year there was a lot of, man, like Chance is the best or second best player on the team, and then he got hurt. It's like, okay. So available? Well, he's dressed tonight. Available? Can he become available? Does the game need to go a certain way for him to get out there with availability tonight? I have no idea. It is such a mystery. And then I wonder, all right, is this guy as good as we are led to believe? If he's as good as we are led to believe, after the injuries, not having played in a collegiate basketball game for closing on 2 years, now whatever illness he's been dealing with for the last weeks, month, something, how ready is he to be that guy now? What portion of that guy is he now? How long will it take him to be that guy now? And from what we saw in the Lemoyne game and what ailed Syracuse in that game, what in Chance's skill set takes that and elevates that? And it's just a bunch of questions. I don't know. I'm intrigued because all the people that said all these things about Chance, all these good things about Chance, I believe it because it's been like the volume of different people I've heard it from is too many. It's too many to be just nothing. Now, will it play out on a court in a meaningful way? Once he start playing, can his knees hold up? It's been both of his knees now for the last couple of years. All of this stuff. There's lots and lots of questions. The one thing I don't question is I believe it. As far as, practice thoughts. Like the number one that always sticks out in my head historically for Syracuse is back in the pre-transfer portal days when transfers had to sit out a year and earn their keep. The year Wes Johnson sat out, everything you heard from anybody that knew anything is like, this dude is dominating practice. I'm like, wait a minute. Hang on. Rewind. You're on a team with Johnny Flynn and Paul Harris and Eric Devendorf and like a legit squad. Like that was a legit. They made the Sweet 16. Like that was a legit basketball team. 6 overtime game. Like that was a real basketball team. And you're telling me that everybody around there is like, yeah, he's the best player. Like, oh, gotta watch out for this guy the next year. Like that always blew my mind. This isn't quite to that level because the Wes Johnson stories are like, oh, just wait till you see this guy. Like, what? Okay. And then we saw that guy and was like, aha, he's fantastic. The Chance stories aren't quite to that level, but everything I keep hearing is like, yeah, like if he were healthy last year, and in the lead up to the season last year, he was right up until, it all fell apart like a few weeks before the year. People are like, yeah, he might be the second best player on the team to Judah. Some people are like, he might be better than Judah. Now, I don't know. Can he shoot? I think he took 11 threes all time in his career at Auburn while injured and made none of them. Is he a shooter? I don't know. Is he a point guard? Is he a facilitator? Is he a defender? I don't know. We don't know what the guy is at all. All we know is he was a top 40 recruit. Auburn, transfers here. Like there's a lot of good pedigree and good background. And then question 2 is, all right, are we going to see him play tonight? If so, how much? If this much tonight, what can it translate to? And how fast can this help Syracuse win basketball games right now? And where in the rotation is he fitting? So if Chance is to be that good, that's 20 some odd plus minutes a game. Where are they coming from? Is it coming from Carlos? Is it coming from Bell? Is it coming from Starling? Is it coming from playing small ball and it's coming from Eddie Lampkin? I don't know. Like, where are the minutes coming from? The Chance Westry thing has created so many questions. So many questions over the course of the last year. It's wild. And he's a name we've known for a while. Like, he was a recruiting target out of high school. Like, we've heard his name around for a long, long time. And I still know nothing about him. He's got to be one of the guys that we've heard about for the longest that I know the least about. And maybe, just maybe, we'll begin to maybe, add a few more maybes, answer some of those questions tonight. Will we actually answer them? Haven't the foggiest. But maybe tonight. I'll take a break. Starting lineups are in. We'll tell you those when we come back. One of everyone's favorite referees is in the house tonight. We'll let you know that. And continue getting you set up for Cuse and Colgate tonight in the Dome when we come back after this. Still time for a call if you'd like as well at 315-437-7644. Back in a few here on Cuse Sports Talk at ESPN Radio.
The 315 with
That's my
Ryan
guess, San
Higgins.
Diego Cuse, but
Game
day. What does the actual day of the week matter if it's game day? We got like a super size, extra large, double XL, triple XL game day coming up on Saturday where all the games happen all in a row, all in one day. Potentially with a Kyan Anthony is committed to Syracuse.
TV Teddy.
4 to 6 on ESPN Radio Syracuse.
Hello, Syracuse. Dave Anthony here for Romano Toyota.
All of that.
State's #1 best-selling Toyota dealership. Come lease the 2025 Camry LE Hybrid for only $395 a month with just $3,000 down.
Covered in
that
mystery.
includes taxes. You just pay fees. Prefer to buy? It's just $31,300 with 4.99% financing up to 72 months. Lease or buy, you get Toyota.
I blame Paulie. It's all Paulie's fault. The best part about the chat is that everyone in the chat who mentioned the commercial says commercials, Paulie. It's Paulie's fault. That's a great question, Kev. Probably. I've been to a comedy show in a minute, he takes. Do like a good stand-up. I like Gillis. There's others I like more, but yeah, I think it's like in the on-center part of it, probably.
Toyota pregame show presented by Amtrak.
I was just reaching to push the button because Drew in New Hartford wanted to talk about Chance Westry to put him on. He vanished. Drew, if you'd like to, we still got a few minutes. If you'd like to call back, Drew, 315-437-7644. Anybody else that wants to? I was like, my finger was literally, it wasn't on the button, but it was like quickly approaching the button. So I definitely did not bump the button in an inappropriate way to knock him off, but I was looming my way toward the button, and now there's nobody there anymore. So Drew, or if anybody else wants to give a ring here in the last few minutes of the show, we can do that. I mean, I was working just zzz, and then gone. Anyway, Cuse and Colgate tonight. Starting lineups are in, and the expected fives for both. J.J. Starling and Jaquan Carlos, the backcourt for the Orange front court. Chris Bell, Donnie Freeman, and Eddie Lampkin. It is a four-guard lineup for Colgate with Jalen Cox, Brady Cummings, Nicholas Louis-Jacques, which is just fun to say, and Parker Jones, less fun to say. Louis-Jacques Jones. Louis-Jacques, yeah, much more fun. And Jeff Woodward in the middle, the hulking. He's big. He always has like a rolled shoulder thing. He does look very hulking, Jeff Woodward, who's been there for 78 years in his fifth year at Colgate, averaging 15.5 points a game in his first year as a primary starter, leading the way here for the Raiders. And here's an announcement you'll all enjoy. The lead official in tonight's game, none other than one TV Teddy Valentine. So there's that. TV Teddy in the house tonight with Tony Henderson and Jenna Renault as the officials tonight. So that is the officiating trio. Can Teddy Valentine and Chance Westry exist in the same place? Will we see Chance Westry tonight? My lean, and we did no wrong answers like an hour and a half ago. I said he would not play tonight. I'm sticking with that, but I don't know. Can we all just agree that if Chance Westry doesn't play tonight, it's Ted Valentine's fault? I don't know why, but let's just all agree on that. What do I think we're going to see tonight? I think Chris Bell's going to have a nice game. He had 25 against him last year. He had 20 in the opener against Lemoyne. You watch the opener, watch what Chris did. I could very, very easily see Chris being the leading scorer on this team right now. I think a few more threes fall tonight. I think we still see a little more of that other stuff, that one dribble, two dribble pull-up that we saw from him last game. Can Chris Bell continue to crank up a little defense? A little something else? That'll be nice. I want to see J.J. Starling tonight going forward. I want to see J.J. in attack mode. I want to see him going at the rim. And I want to see JJ. I realize this would be the boring part. I want to see JJ at the free throw line. Last year, Judah Mintz shot like 7,000 free throws. He was at the line like every 4 seconds. But it was extremely effective for Judah. I don't think JJ needs quite that volume of free throws, but the role on the team as primary driver of the basketball is available. And there is only one guy on the team, to me, that it makes sense to take that role. And it's JJ. It wasn't available last year for JJ. Even if maybe he needed it more because he was effective at it, he needs to be the aggressor. I know he's capable of it, but he needs to do it consistently. He doesn't need to get to the line like 12 times a game. If he shoots like 6 free throws tonight, I think that's good. And then maybe that opens up what looked to be a smoothed out 3-point shot we've seen for the most part through the 2 exhibition games and the game the other day. So we'll see how that all goes. I think we're going to get another good Jair Davis game. I think, you look at Colgate, he's a Delaware guy. Like it fits, right? I still don't know how some of Jair will translate against like the bigger teams in the ACC. It should translate tonight. I think Jair finishes 15 to 20. I don't see any reason he doesn't get going again. I think Donnie Freeman, I'd like to see a little more composed Freeman tonight. We saw him a little indecisive, ball in his hands on offense last game. I think the indecisiveness, maybe more than anything, led to a 3 of 12 shooting game. Let it fly, man. You're Donnie Freeman. You're McDonald's All-American. You're talented. Let it go. I think another double-double. He'll get the 10 rebounds just because he's huge. The guy's big. He is a big, athletic dude out there. But as far as what's going to decide the game tonight, all right, how good is Colgate? I don't know. Are they what they were the last few years? No, but it's a lot of players that even though they weren't the stars on those teams, they were here. They played in these games. They get it. They should not be overwhelmed by the moment tonight in the Dome. It's a coach that certainly won't be. Matt Langel has won twice in this building in the last 3 years. The big question with Colgate, are the threes going to drop? They've not been shooting it well in the first 2 games. The team is mid-20s percentage-wise in the first 2 games from the outside. We saw 3 years ago they hit 18. 2 years ago, they hit 19. Last year, they hit 9. 9's not terrible, but in comparison, yeah, if they had done anything close to that again last year, they win the game and win it going away. What is Colgate going to do beyond the arc tonight is going to determine whether we have a close game or not, I think. I got the final as this, 82-75 Cuse. Why? I think the program of Colgate understands how to play in this game. They've had it for 3 years in a row. What do I want to see tonight? A, Syracuse win the game. B, almost as important, I need to eye test. I know the eye test. Oh, give me the net rankings. No, I need eye test tonight. Tonight is an eye test night for me. I need to visually see and know that Syracuse is a better basketball team than what we watched last Monday. I don't care if the margin is 3 or 23. I need to see that Syracuse is a better team because I think there's 2 options. If Colgate comes in and plays well, there's a game in which both teams play well. Syracuse wins by 7, and I leave this game feeling good about a lot of things for both teams. There's another world where, all right, Colgate ain't as good anymore. There's a world Syracuse wins by 20. And we come out of this game saying, I got no clue which one of these we're going to say tonight. I think Syracuse wins the game. How good are they going to play? I don't know. I think tonight's an important step, though. You got Texas. You got Texas 9 days out. We got to see some steps. We got to see some growth. 2 games left before that, tonight and Saturday, against Youngstown State at 1. We got to see a little growth. And hopefully, more than anything, save the win. What I want to see tonight is game 1 to game 2 growth before this Syracuse team. All right, again, a reminder, listen to the game over on TK99 or on the AM dial for this station, ESPN 1200. Watch the game on the ESPN app, wherever that is available to you, on ACC Network Extra or ESPN Plus, whichever you are subscribed to. After the game, whenever the game is over, come right back. Come back here. Come back here right after the game. Post-game show starts right after. We'll get your Red Autry's post-game thoughts, his full press conference live after this home game. Your calls as well throughout, all starting at 9-ish, give or take. Tonight, with that, everybody go enjoy the game. We'll reconvene here afterwards on ESPN Radio and Cuse Sports Talk.
Don't miss the Kyle McCord Show,